Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has won in Michigan, getting around 34% of the vote, beating both Ted Cruz and John Kasich by over 10 points. It was such a big win for Trump that as soon as the polls closed, both Fox News and MSNBC called the race for Trump. He decimated, he annihilated, he Donkey Konged everybody, which was interesting because this is actually a decent showing for Kasich, or should have been a better showing for Kasich. He actually put a lot of time and money and resources into this race, and what do you get? He got third place. Ouch, man. Fucking ouch. So it didn't work out very well for him. Cruz actually worked out better. He got some decent delegates. And here you had poor little Marco. Poor little Marco in distant fourth. He got no delegates. How sad. How sad. Now, of course, that's not the only win for Trump on that night. He also won the primary in Mississippi. Now, Mississippi has about 40 delegates at stake. Now, this is interesting because for a while now, he had a couple of losses in some good states. He's still up ahead in the delegate count, but he could be easily caught up to, right? And so a lot of people were thinking that maybe he was starting to finally lose a little steam. Finally. But as I had always said, and for example, Secular Talk, Kyle Kulinski, we kind of figured that he was going to keep Donkey Konging his way through the primary. And it looks that way. He's getting his momentum back. Now, he goes from here, Michigan, to Ohio. Now, that's, of course, John Kasich's home state. And, of course, Florida, which is Marco Rubio's state on March 15th. So, now, Marco Rubio, he's not going to last much longer. Now, the question is whether he waits to be completely embarrassed by Trump. Embarrassed if he loses Florida. I mean, if the polling holds, and once again, polling can be inaccurate, but if polling holds such large margins for Trump, going into Florida, he might consider dropping out beforehand. I'm not sure. I think Marco actually thinks that he'll do well in Florida. And as soon as he gets curb stomped, he's gone. No more Marco Rubio. Bye-bye. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. You're gone. Get out. So this might be the end of him. Now, Kasich, I don't know. He might be next up for that establishment money. It's actually between him and Ted Cruz. And we've seen Ted Cruz kind of angling for some of that money to try to set himself up as the establishment alternative to Donald Trump. Whether or not he or Kasich gets that establishment money, we're not exactly sure. But I think they're still kind of angling for it. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Depending on what happens in Ohio, the establishment may tell Kasich to get out of the race, or may tell Marco Rubio in Florida to get out of the race. It all depends. If it doesn't work out, Ted Cruz is their last shot. Their absolute last shot. Now, one more thing, right? Now, Ted Cruz claims to be anti-establishment. But remember, he recently got a Bush family member to join his campaign. Now, he also loves Goldman Sachs, where his wife works. So if push comes to shove, I could see the establishment maybe grudgingly lining up behind Ted Cruz to stop Donald Trump. As for the other guys, I just don't see them having much of a path forward. Now, even if John Kasich wins Ohio, which if he loses, would be incredibly embarrassing, just like if Marco Rubio loses Florida. So, I don't know. What I do know right now is that the Trump juggernaut is going to continue to Donkey Kong its way all the way through to the nomination, to the convention. Trump just got his momentum back. It's Trump-mentum.